Board. We have two public hearings tonight, so please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Jerry?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we take the roll, I just want to make this statement for the record. The Planning Board shall have the right to rely on any information that is presented by the applicant. If any such information is later found to be inaccurate or incorrect, the Planning Board may determine that any approvals, building permits, or other actions previously granted in connection with the application are null and void. Denise?
Patrick Halpin.
Present.
Frank Santos. Julianne Nolan. Jerry O'Neill.
Present.
Ed Wynn.
Present.
Juan Leon.
Present.
Brian Zatani. Matt Esposito. Nunzio Russo. James Beccaro. Rich Casey. Greg Gaxiola.
Hey, Denise?
Item A on the agenda, public hearing, site plan review, job number 22-49A, Empire CDR&J, proposes to renovate an existing 64,950.6 square foot, single-story masonry warehouse and construct an approximate 874 square foot car wash in connection with a proposed vehicle showroom and service center.
Okay, who's here on behalf of the applicant?
For the applicant, Billy Germano of Germano and Cahill PC, 4250 Veterans Highway, Holbrook, New York. We are counsel to the applicant.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Germano. Have you had the opportunity to review with your client the April 12th memo, April 12th, 2023 memo from Rachel Skelfos stating all of the conditions and covenants and restrictions?
Yes, Chairman.
Do you have any concerns, any objections, anything that you'd like to bring to the board's attention regarding this memorandum?
No objections.
So your client agrees to all of the conditions, covenants, and restrictions?
Yes, Chairman.
Okay, please proceed.
Also present with me tonight is Doug Castellano, the North Coast Civil Engineer. Also present is David Gonzalez, the architect from John Capobianco's office, and Kyle Catalino, an Empire, a representative from Empire. I'd also like to present to the board exhibits A through F, which are pictures of the existing conditions, including an aerial of the site.
Matt, do we have all of these for, do you have them that you can put on our screen?
Not the pictures, no, you don't.
Not the pictures? Okay. All right.
The property is 5.7 acres in the industrial G zoning district
Here, hold on.
located.
Just give us a minute while we pass
Excuse me.
these out. Thank you. Okay, please proceed.
Thank you. The property is about 5.7 acres in the industrial G zoning district located west of Brookdale Avenue and Bayshore Road. As illustrated in exhibits A through E, the site is improved with a deteriorating 65,000 square foot industrial building, which was formerly occupied by a vinyl manufacturer with outdoor storage. The original building, located on the southwest portion of the site, was constructed approximately 1.68. The building, parking, and paved areas and landscaping are in generally poor condition, and that's very evident from the exhibits.
Excuse me 1 second. Can you just check that microphone? Just like,
Tap the head.
okay. Thank
Thank you.
you.
You've got to bring it a little bit closer.
I'll bring it
so-
closer.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. It's okay. You just fold it too much. You're tall, so.
Yeah. The subject premises sits along the edge of the industrial district. It abuts industrial uses on its sides and in the rear. On the opposite side of Bayshore Road, directly across from the site, is a gas station before you enter into the residential zone. Empire will be a long-term tenant at the property. Empire is a motor vehicle dealership, and you may know them. They have a site in West Islip on Sunrise Highway, and it's a Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram facility. This project consists of a large-scale renovation of the existing building and a fit-out for a vehicle service center with a small showroom for the sale of pre-owned and some new vehicles. The project will also include the construction of an 893 square foot accessory structure for a car wash. The car wash would not serve the general public. It's specifically for use by the service center. We look at this project as an expansion of the existing center in West Islip. In fact, the Empire intends to move its service operations from West Islip to this facility. And we anticipate a good number of well-paying jobs being created in the town of Babylon in connection with this project. And again, though we will operate a small showroom, the primary purpose of this facility is service. The facility will have 52 service bays for both passenger vehicles and trucks. There's an 8-car queue within the building, and service is done by appointments only. Appointments are scheduled online, and they are in 15-minute increments. The facility will also offer valet to assist customers during drop-off. In other words, the customers would enter the facility, valet would take the keys, and the customers would be directed into, in the bottom portion of the building, that lounge area. And there they could wait for their vehicle, or they could view other cars on display within the facility. The current conditions show the deteriorating building with a deteriorating parking lot. This application will provide a much-needed refresh, which would be pursuant to the Jeep specifications, with front yard landscaping as shown in the landscape plan that was provided earlier. If you have a rendering, Matt, perhaps now would be a good time to show it. And if you have any questions, if the board has any questions about the architecture, Mr. Gonzalez is here to answer any of those questions. As part of the overall application and this project, we will need to obtain relief from the zoning board. We'll need a special permit for the sale, service, and storage of vehicles, and we'll need another permit for the accessory car wash. I would like to now introduce Doug Castellano from North Coast Civil to discuss the specifics of the site plan.
Mr. Castellano, could you please state your full name and address for the record?
Yes.
Wait to get back.
My name is Doug Castellano from North Coast Civil, 39 West Main Street, Oyster Bay, New York. Good evening, Chairman and members of the board.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes,
Go ahead.
thank you. So my office prepared the civil site plans for the project. I'll just walk you through some of the various aspects covered in my plans. Matt, if you want to just follow me as I kind of go page by page. So the property, as Mr. Germano stated, is currently lacking in all aspects of site design. There are no real curbs, organized landscaping, striping, parking stalls, etc. We're proposing a full revamp of the existing site. That includes new perimeter curbing, drainage facilities, new sanitary system, landscaping, and lighting. Just to jump right into it, the existing site entrance is to be modified to fit a new ADA-compliant curb cut and apron. Because Bayshore Road is a county road, the plans for this new curb entrance were submitted and reviewed by Suffolk County DPW. Following the review, they deemed the proposed entrance adequate and they had no objections to the work. We still have to obviously move forward to a permit, which will obviously be before a building permit is issued. But again, they did have a review of it and had no objections to us, modifying the curb cut that's there. So starting at Bayshore Road, the entranceway will circulate two-way traffic into the main parking area. Running along the building, there will be some new curbing, some handicap ramps. As Mr. Germano stated before, the entrance ramps into the service area that's for car queuing. Then kind of heading into the back of the site, it opens up a bit where the bulk of the parking will really, be. We're adding new perimeter curbing around this area, new fencing, new asphalt pavement, new striping, where currently none exists. There's like some weeds and other things and overgrowth that'll all be cleaned up as part of the reconstruction. The majority of the rear parking area is two-way traffic. This will allow for full circulation. There is on the west side of the site 2 one-way sections, but again, you have the 2 ways on the other side, so you really can just, move in, if you need to find a parking space, you can go to a different row and vice versa. So moving further up the lot, the northern portion is where there's a current wetland. It's currently heavily wooded. We're not disturbing this area as part of the DEC. That would basically create a mess if we wanted to. All work that we're proposing is 100 feet landward of that wetland area. So we, leave ourselves from having to go to the DEC and tackle that battle. So just kind of jumping into the engineering, I won't cut you guys too much with the drainage design, but we did do a drainage review of the site as required by planning. We did soil borings. We found that there was high groundwater as expected near a wetland. This just created a little bit of a challenge for us to make a more shallow drainage system, but again, all runoff will be maintained on site. No stormwater will flow to adjacent properties. So it's a pretty substantial system, obviously with a large parking area and a building of that size, but again, we were able to maintain all of the runoff on site. Because we were disturbing more than an acre of land, we prepared a stormwater pollution prevention plan, or a SWIP for short. It follows all New York State DEC guidelines. All erosion control measures will be implemented and remain throughout the duration of construction, just to limit the disturbance to any area, surrounding areas for the remainder of construction. Jumping into the landscape and lighting, the landscaping is really straightforward. Again, everything that's there is currently in duress. The bulk of it's really just in the front, where we're providing new screening around the transformer units. This is the most bare portion of the property that you see from the roadway. So some additional screening around those transformers, some little clusters of small plantings, a couple street-friendly trees, things like that. So again, just in that front area. And then moving on to the lighting. It's a combination of light poles and building-mounted lights, 20-foot maximum height, which is what's in the code. And all light fixtures will have down-shielding measures and be dark sky compliant. So that's really the sense of the site-related aspects that we're proposing. If there's any questions about the layout of things, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Do any of the board members have any questions regarding the layout or any of the other aspects of the plan just presented? Go ahead.
Sure.
Frank?
On the handicap parking?
Yes.
Handicap parking, just looking, and I can't tell, but on the stuff on the right, it looks like there's a ramp going up. On the left, it doesn't look as though there's a ramp. Is that going to be at the same elevation as the entrance?
So when you do, so where I think you're talking about where his cursor is, correct?
Correct.
So over there's a handicap ramp to the south of where that parking is.
Okay.
That slopes up to the main building entrance.
So that sidewalk slopes up to the main building.
It'll slope up to the main building entrance. There's actually a staircase that's on that side. Obviously, the handicap, people wouldn't be able to go that way, but they would go towards the front entrance where it does slope up, where the existing front door is currently.
Any other questions? Julianne?
And is there also a handicap bathroom?
I would have to defer. There is, right? There is. Yes, there is.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Jerry?
I see from the existing pictures and then the new drawing that you're painting all the same openings for windows, both in front and around the side and the back.
I would defer just to the architect to just clarify that. I think the answer is yes.
Okay, hold on. Are there any more? We'll hold that
Yeah, maybe
question
if
for
there's
the
more
architect. Are there any other more questions?
Site-related, yep, go ahead.
Go ahead.
The dumpster, where is that going to be located? Is there going to be a dumpster?
Yes, there's a dumpster enclosure. It's located in the back, right along the back of the building, Matt, just a little bit. If you zoom in, it's that proposed retaining wall to the east a little bit, right to the right of your cursor. Right there, yep. That's the proposed dumpster location, up to code. And again, it actually is kind of nice that it's hidden behind that retaining wall, so it's a good spot for it, we think.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions about the site plan? No? Okay. Thank you.
Okay, and then there was a
The
question
architect?
about the architecture.
Sir, please state your name and address for the record.
David Gonzalez, architect, 67 Rolling Street, Lynbrook, New York.
Okay, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, please proceed.
Good evening, Chairman, member of the boards. So, back to the question regarding the facade.
Yeah, the existing openings you have for windows in the front and the big banner of windows that go along the back and side.
Right, so those openings will remain, and then we'll basically replace anything that needs to be replaced. Those front windows will have full glass, and it will create a wood boundary border around it. And basically, this is Jeep's specifications, so we're basically following their color schemes, their materialities, and basically we'll apply it to the existing building.
And the ones on the second-story level on the side that are all rusted and broken, are they being repaired or replaced?
Yes, they will be repaired and then repainted, because those mullions, they can still stay. So it will be repaired and replaced.
They look pretty nasty.
Well, this will be an improvement. Anything else?
Yeah, there they are.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, right there. Is it, okay, once you follow up to that, let's pull that picture up that we were just looking at from the side. What will that look like when, I mean, I presume it doesn't comply with Jeep's requirements, what we're looking at there.
Yeah, so the color schemes, the mullions will paint it black, that corresponds to their black ACM. And the windows, whatever needs to be replaced and cleaned, that's what we're gonna treat those existing windows with.
Okay, all right. If they're repairable, they're repairable, I guess.
Okay, any other questions? No? All right.
Okay.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, board members.
I do have a question regarding the outdoor car wash. Where will that be located? I should have asked it of your site, but how is that going to fit into this?
In the rear of the building,
Yeah,
there's an exit out from the service center.
okay.
So the. He's,
Matt, if you switch the alignment plan, it shows the up to page 1.
can you go to page 1 if you can? Yeah. Right, okay, so there's a driveway out, and then, so the service techs would drive the vehicle out with valets, drive it through the car wash there before it's returned to the customers to leave the site. So, the manufacturer requires that all vehicles that are serviced are cleaned before they're returned to the customers. So this keeps it all on site and within the service department, as opposed to having to drive the vehicles off-site to another location.
Understood. Okay. Any other questions, Julianne?
Oh, sorry, is the applicant an owner? Did he purchase this, or is this a long-term lease when you said he's going to be a long-term?
He's a tenant. So the tenant is JJM Automotive Atlantic, which is just a holding company for the ownership of Empire.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay. Thank you very much. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to address the board regarding this particular application? No? Okay. Thank you, Matt.
Revised plans are currently under review by a number of departments. Planning staff recommend extending the record to May 22nd.
To May 22nd to extend the record. Okay. We need a motion, Frank, to extend the record to May 22nd, second by Jim.
Second.
All in favor? The record is extended. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Item 2 on the agenda, public hearing, site plan review, job number 22-44A, 1948 Deer Park Avenue LLC, proposes interior alterations and facade renovations to an existing building formerly used as a bank with a drive-through for a change of use to a medical office building, along with associated site improvements.
Sir, could you please state your name and address for the record?
Sure. For the applicant, John Farrow with the firm of Son, Ward, Braff, and Coblins. Our offices are at 1300 Veterans Memorial Highway, Suite 100, Hauppauge, New York.
Deputy Planning Commissioner Liz White issued a memo regarding this particular application dated April 17th, 2023. Have you had the opportunity to review this this memorandum with your client regarding all of the conditions, covenants, and restrictions?
Yes, I have.
Do you have any objections?
No.
Anything that you'd like to bring to our attention
No.
regarding anything in this application? Okay, thank you very much. Please proceed.
Okay, the subject property is located on the west side of Deer Park Avenue, about 453 feet south of Nichols Road. It has 175 feet of frontage on Deer Park Avenue and varying depth between 231 and 238 feet. The total area is 41,226 square feet, slightly less than an acre. It's located in the e-business zone, and it's presently improved with a 3,600 square foot building that was formerly used as a Chase Bank with drive-through. The bank closed several years ago and sold the property to my client. My client's been working since he acquired the property to find a proper tenant for this site, and he reached an agreement with Northwell Health to convert this space to a medical office. We're here tonight seeking a modification of the site plan that had been approved for the bank. There won't be any expansion of the existing footprint, but the conversion will utilize the basement area. There's a full basement in this building to have medical office on both floors. At the present time, Northwell intends to have an OBGYN and an internal medicine doctor at this location. It may change based on Northwell's programmatic needs, but as of today, that's the plan. The new site, the redeveloped interior, will have 13 exam rooms, 7 on the first floor, 6 on the second floor, with 6 offices for the doctors. There'll be 2 waiting rooms, a staff lounge, 5 bathrooms, and then there'll be lab and reception areas inside. The change of the use necessitates change in the site. It requires us to remove the canopy in the rear yard so that we can create more parking, because as the board knows, the parking demand for medical office is higher than the demand for a bank. So with this plan, what we've done is we've integrated it into the 2 adjoining shopping centers. All properties are owned and controlled by principals of my client. So now, instead of having to go out onto Deer Park Avenue to access the CVS, you can traverse the Chase Bank or former Chase Bank site, which will be the medical office, on either the southeast or the northwest side of the property, and get through from one side of the site to the other. That'll alleviate some traffic on Deer Park Avenue. There will be new landscape islands added throughout the site. There'll be landscaping along Deer Park Avenue and on the southerly property line, and again with the landscape islands. In addition to these modifications, there'll be facade improvements. As you can see in the rendering that my client has done, they're taking it from more of a traditional brick building to elevate the architecture a little bit. We think this use is definitely an improvement over some of the other uses that have come up along Deer Park Avenue in recent years, and we think the medical office is something that will enhance property values in the town. So if the board has any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you very much. As you have obviously cross-access agreements with the adjacent property owners.
We will be preparing cross-access easements that we'll submit to the town attorney's office if this board grants the approval, yes.
All right, very good, thank you. Are there any questions? Julianne?
And that is condition number 4 with reference to the access. Currently, the brick that's there doesn't look very sound at all. Is that staying? Is your facade going over what's there? It looks like a lot of patches, some holes.
I think it'll integrate it. My client will certainly clean it up. He's investing a lot of money into this building to elevate the architecture. He's going to utilize what's there, but he will clean it up.
And do you have any renderings or pictures at all of what the basement currently looks like?
I don't have any renderings of, I don't have any floor plans for the existing basement. I think it's just storage. It's just an open storage area.
And how many office spaces are you going to put down there?
There will be 6 exam rooms and I believe 5 offices.
And what is the access to
4
the
offices.
basement?
Sorry?
What is the access?
There's an elevator access and there's also an exterior staircase, which you can see on the plan up there.
Thank you.
Juan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just out of curiosity, is this a walk-in clinic or by appointment?
It will, as of right now, it is going to be by appointment. Northwell has a separate arm that does, walk-ins, which is Go Health. That is not part of this plan.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, the rear of the building, it looks like you're getting some parking spaces that go beyond where the landscaping is at the west side of the property. Right across from the Stop and Shop entrance and across.
So there will be, the parking there is existing parking along the rear
Yeah.
yard right now. I believe this plan, we're actually bumping out and providing more landscaping. We're eliminating some of that parking because we need to create the 2 lanes to come through. Right now, I believe the parking goes across the entire rear to.
It does, yeah.
To the ShopRite entrance. We're actually cutting some of that parking back to allow for the cross-access.
All right, the elevation of the pad site that this sits on is higher than the surrounding parking lot. The entrance on the northwest corner, is that a ramp? I mean, there's several feet difference between the level of the parking lot.
Let me check with my engineer. State your name and address.
All right. Could you please state your name and address for the record?
Sure. TJ Wilkinson, professional engineer with Bowler, 275 Broad Hollow Road, Melville, New York.
Can you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please proceed.
So just to clarify, which area specifically are we talking about?
The site plan I'm looking at the northwest corner of the main pad site that this building is on, there's ingress and egress, there's 2 arrows. But the elevation, the level that this pad site sits on and the surrounding parking lot for Stop and Shop and everybody else are 2 different levels.
Yes, so you can see in the grading plan here, we are tying in the grades. It's almost 2 feet lower than the existing elevation of the building, but we are still capturing stormwater on site and we are tying back into those existing grades. So although we are slightly lower, just outside of the property line, it does tie into our grades and we still retain all stormwater on site. So it's actually a fairly gentle slope. It shouldn't be a ramp or anything like that.
Is that landscaping on the west end staying in between those 2 parking areas?
At the northwest corner,
Well, all the way down the west side.
so we will be replacing it on our property line. We will be planting new in that area.
Okay. And lastly would be, the building looks good, your elevation drawings of the front and the 2 sides. The back is bare, and the back of that building faces into a huge parking area, and many of the stores are back there. What's the chances of making that treatment on the building go all the way around?
Question is, identify that.
This is the money
Nicely
guy.
asked
I don't
and
need
rested.
you to
Okay.
come up and just,
All
what are
right,
the
now
odds?
you're gonna have
Speak, I don't care.
to, hold on, you're gonna have to state your name and address, and I have to swear you in.
Dominic Mavella, landlord for the both properties, the north to the south, ShopRite.
is the supermarket, and then CVS Pharmacy to the
All right, hold on.
south.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the
I
truth?
do.
Okay, now go.
Okay. So your question in terms of adding more landscaping?
No,
and
no,
the-
no,
Talking about the
I'm
facade-
talking about
we do
the el-
facade improvements on the rear of the building as they face the shopping center.
The facade is facing Deer Park Avenue. That's aesthetically,
He wants
Yeah.
to do the rear-
Why wouldn't you do that in the rear? That's exposed to your other properties and a big parking area and the other stores.
because we have rooftop units going in the back. You know, what we could do is something similar I just did for Northwell and Huntington Village, a corner of Park Avenue in Maine. We put a decorative fence in the back on the roof to cover the, the rooftop units. But as far as a mansard,
No. I'm talking about the surface of the walls in the back of the building. If you, Matt, if you can pull this one up. Oh, there, okay. Pull it down so you can see.
oh,
The facade of the building architecturally is very interesting in the front and two sides.
okay.
In the back, it's a white wall.
Yeah, we
according to
plan
this.
on doing drive-it in the back, which is common for a retail shopping center. It's going to be
Okay.
nice. But we
And
didn't plan on
any
bringing-
elevation changes to that, any kind of detail with the drive-it?
just think we have decorative windows and molding going around the doors and the windows. What's your concern? Aesthetically, it's
Yeah,
unpleasing?
it looks like a big white wall.
Mhm.
And that is showing into your parking lot for the other properties.
Something we can entertain.
Looks like the back of, oh, there it is now.
Yeah.
Looks like the back of a factory.
Yeah. Well, the idea was, to put the money into the face of the building and the north to south and the rear. Like you said, it's all parking. The neighbors are substantially far away. North First Street is the nearest neighbors. My house is, I have an office in the back there directly. But it's something we can entertain, bricking all four sides.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions? No? Questions? Okay, Matt, is there anyone from the public that would like to address the board regarding this application? No? Okay. Matt, where do we stand with the departmental reviews? To May 15th. Okay, we need a motion to extend the record. Motion by Juan
Motion to extend the record?
to May 15th, second by Ed. Motion to extend. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Okay, well, continue your conversation, maybe you follow up with Matt regarding that site.
You have a question for me now?
No. We'll talk.
No, we've closed, it. We've moved on. Thank you, council.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Have a
much.
good evening.
Thank you. Okay. That is the last of our public hearings. We are going to now move to our work session, so we will no longer be